All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. So we're back in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if the boudoir photography business is rising, we're probably bringing in everyone across the entire intent spectrum here. High intent on the left to low intent on the right. And, if a boudoir photography business is falling, most likely we're missing chunks of people that we're not bringing in through this boudoir, somewhere on this intent spectrum. So over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps. So we're talking about BSS here. Get to that in a little bit. And highest intent peeps, they're searching for a boudoir photo shoot right now in their city on social media, social search, or on Google search. And we're over on the other end on the right, we got our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and that's getting in front of the lowest intent people in our city, which is actually the highest volume of people. But with that brand, we currently only work with the boudoir photographers running around 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, now on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. This one, a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're on page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dead right off the bat, man. Because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are page 1 search only. So approximately 80% of searches, I mean, dude, that's literally the bulk of the market. This is who we're focused on, this is who we care about. And that's page 1 only for them. And 1 slot on page 1, that still ain't good enough because there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If 9 are other boudoir photographers, that means a buyer, potential buyer, is simply going to be, click and open everyone's link, everyone's website, blah, 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 blah. And actually, getting price quotes from everyone, price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone. Probably won't even remember who they reached out to. So there'll be so many people. Page 1 only though, so we're assuming the bulk, that we're only focused on the 80% here, approximately 80%. That are page 1 only peeps. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It's a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Someone gets a new iPhone and they throw out their Google My Business profile that they are now a boudoir photographer. They got their boudoir photography website, competing with us to rank on page 1. Okay, cool. Also, someone gets a new camera. They're competing with us to, now they're posting in the mom groups on Facebook saying they now offer boudoir as well. And so market saturation, market always gets more and more saturated. Markets always get more and more saturated over time. And we saw, big market saturation when COVID hit. People lost their jobs, couldn't work, still needed to earn money though. And everyone's got a great camera attached to their phone. That's when a ton of boudoir photographers hopped in, making the market more and more saturated. Now, the false belief of page 1 inequality, this one basically nobody knows about because the implicit belief of page 1 equality, which is false, was kind of just, accepting that, or kind of implicitly agreeing without even thinking about it, that, yeah, every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1. And if I lose, if I was on page 1, but then I got knocked off by new boudoir photographer with their website, well, that's what happens. And, I've seen that this is the number one, from what I've seen, this is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's simply accepting this as, assuming it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to have this few number of slots on page 1 of Google. It's not normal to, be knocked off page 1 and just lie there like that. Google actually will give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to take with our effort. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in 10 days by using this new method I've developed. And so the false belief of page 1 equality, or AKA falsely believing that there's nothing we can do to hop back up on page 1 from page 2, has been, from what I've seen, the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. Because now we know approximately 80% of searches will never even see you if you're on page 2. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we're building up our universe here on the left side, our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1, the false belief of page 1 equality. which makes people believe nothing's possible, nothing can help them. But it's kind of a box that they're stuck in. But they break through the box, they punch through the box, they can see outside and they see, oh, there is a solution. Because finally, we did find a solution because we invented it. Discovered that BSS Boudoir search sameness is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. Social search saturation. We saturate social search for the highest intent keywords that boudoir buyers are searching right now to buy a boudoir photo shoot in our city. Highest intent, closest to the money, easiest to convert, highest conversion rates. And the interesting thing about S-cubed methodology is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully outcompete a saturated market, and it can work relatively quickly. Obviously, the one other solution would be brand, having a brand, but dude, that takes like minimum 5 years or 10 years to get. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking more people's jobs. We need maximum page one on Google now. So, how does S-cubed methodology successfully overcome and still grow a business with massive market saturation of boudoir photographers entering the market? So, let's say we got a million boudoir photographers, and we're in Austin, Texas. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're a boudoir photographer, and everyone's trying to rank page one on Google, because that is still where approximately 90% of searches go. And we decided to max out S-cubed methodology. So we're ranking for the highest buyer intent keywords across social search, so across all the social networks. Let's say we're taking like the first 300 slots, and as a result, we are these are kind of the small streams, the small rivers off the backside of the Andes that then flow into the Amazon River, big Amazon River, which is page one on Google. So we're also taking the first 300 slots page one on Google. Well, first 300 slots on Google, 10 organic slots per page on Google. That'd be the first 30 pages. We're taking them all up. And so anytime a buyer searches for a boudoir photographer in Austin, anywhere on social or on Google, basically like on Google, I gotta go to page like 31 to essentially see any of our competitors. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page two. They're page one only searches. So basically no one's gone to page 31. And so in this case, even if there's a million boudoir photographers, whose boudoir photography business is growing? Ours. Well, actually maxed out S-cubed methodology. We took over all this social search. We saturated it, and as a result, saturated Google search as well on Google page one. So, and this thing works way faster than building a brand. And also, S-cubed methodology is the fastest way to build a brand. It helps to build a brand, cuts down the time on building a brand. So it's like extra benefit, long-term benefit with that. Now, once we treat BSS with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. So an initial benefit of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is awesome because this happens instantly. For every slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking another boudoir photographer off and essentially making them invisible because we know that, and approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page two. They stay they're page one only searches. So, we're essentially making an entire competitor disappear. So this is like an initial bonus that we get right ASAP, along with our, our slots on page one that we get. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And with this, we actually want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one. And when we do that, we want to hit recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 because basically all the other boudoir photographers will, they'll have 1 out of 10 if they're even on page one. And so our 3 versus their 1, we're going to look amazing. Kind of subconsciously, buyers are going to say, oh, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over? Maybe they'll only click on our 3 links and not even look at any of our competitors. Who knows? There's also the very, very small chance someone may have 2 slots on page one. So, do 3 slots, basically dominating everyone, no matter who's on page one. And that's boudoir search visibility. And we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer VBP. So we got our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the twin horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution. SQ'd methodology works way faster than 5 to 10 years to build a brand. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results using basically, so my results using SQ'd methodology. I want to rank for the keyword term BLCS boudoir. I want to rank as much as I could page one on Google. So go here to the invisible slots, or the organic slots. We got slot 1 here, me. Slot 2 here, me. Slot 3 here, me. Slot 4 here, TikTok, me. Slot 5 here, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we actually did this all with S-cubed methodology, pure S-cubed. We did not, in 10 days. So, okay, I know these are results I got. All right, so now we're here, the main event. You're gonna see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. Gonna see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got 2. All right, so we got 2 out of 10. So we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for Sac. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page 1 Google slots. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you do the local search for yourself, you do the city search for yourself, you realize, you got BSS in one or both places, or you're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search for either local or city or both. And you actually, now, since we put into words that page 1 equality belief, you're like, oh yeah, that is false. I didn't really think about it. There wasn't really a word or phrase for it before. So I didn't really think about it at all. But now, since we got a name for it, oh yeah, that thing's definitely false. I definitely see, we can take as many slots as we want. And you understand the market saturation, the 3 prongs. 1, people get new phones. 2, people get new cameras. And then you're also foreshadowing, you have the foresight to see the third one, which is AI is taking way and way and way more people's jobs more and more over time. And as that happens, more and more boudoir photographers are going to be forced to enter the market, becoming boudoir photographers because they already got a phone, man. They already got a phone. And they've heard boudoir photography is high ticket. There's going to be more and more boudoir photographers entering the market. And you already know that because everyone already has a phone, a good powered iPhone or, good powered phone with a camera. So there'll be more sellers, boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers. But you also know that S-cubed methodology will allow you to fortify your position Google page 1 and kind of prevent those new boudoir photographers from ever getting on page, those new entrants that come from AI taking people's jobs and still to earn money. They actually, are actually made to kind of like putting up levees for like, New Orleans has levees to keep the ocean out because it's below ocean sea level. Kind of like fortifying your levees, dominate as much as you can, take as much page one as you want with using S-cubed methodology. Because you see the big tsunami of boudoir photography is going to be coming into the market as a result of AI. And so you see S-cubed methodology is the one path forward to solve BSS and prevent your position from eroding on page one, and actually take as many positions on page one as you want. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you need that on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And in addition, you actually want the other two bonuses, back-end bonuses. One, which is, as we execute S-Cube's methodology, we're actually kind of building up thematic keyword columns attached to our brand. And as we build those up, build up the history, build up the thematic keyword strength and relevance connected to our brand, our website, our social profiles, then what actually happens is we increase the probability. Up here, we are shown as the only slot, the premium slot, the only one recommendation here in the AI overview. And that's premium placement. So every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability of this. And also, in parallel, in the back end, every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI apps, AI search apps recommend us. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We are increasing the probability these AI search engines rank us because we're building up these back-end thematic columns of keywords through using S-cubed methodology to, yes, saturate social search. Yes, rank page one on Google. Yes, kick out our competitors from page one on Google, essentially making them invisible to the bulk of the market, the approximately 80% that never even hit page two on Google. And yes, higher chance we get ranked AI overview at the top. And yes, higher chance we get ranked and pushed AI search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and it only displayed 3 to me. Literally 3 in that city. Had 60 or somewhere around there. So you want all these benefits, and you also know that you want to become a first mover in your city, because for every day you execute S-Cube's methodology and all these benefits, fortifying your position of the oncoming AI, forced boudoir photographers entering the market, building up the back-end momentum for being recommended in AI overview and AI search apps. And every day we build that more and more and more. You're putting more and more space between you and all the other boudoir photographers currently in your city and in the city in the future, where they would have to do so much to catch up, it'd basically be impossible, where many people simply stop competing. And on the flip side, if some other boudoir photographer in the city were to work with me instead, because my plan right now is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you would have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, and you wouldn't even know if you derived it correctly to even execute it correctly. And then you'd be having to go execute, and you wouldn't be confident because you wouldn't know if you derived it correctly. So you'd have to go ahead and execute. And if you equaled our execution, our volume of execution with your competitor, you would simply maintain the gap between us that would already have been created. And to pass us, you'd have to derive it correctly, execute it correctly, and probably double our execution every single day in order to surpass the progress, close the gap and then pass us with the progress and momentum we would already made, and kind of pull back that back-end AI search momentum from us, pull back the AI overview momentum for us. It's basically who's got the time. Dude, there's only 24 hours a day. Who's got the time to do all that? So you decided, hey, you're going to be the first mover. So if that's in your city, really set yourself up for success. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. But when I am accepting new patients, shoot me a DM, and we'll ask you some questions. We'll see if you qualify for the S-cubed methodology.